Just had the NBA lottery and we got an order, so we know where some teams are going to be picking. We got the combine happening, so maybe some shuffling around on big boards and players. We had our community mock draft, and we are going to jump in to a new mock draft now that we got the lottery order all situated. And so we're sitting here on Fanspo, and we're going to jump right into our mock draft, our first mock draft when we know the lottery. So we're going to restart what we did last time. And we're going to do a first round here, picking for all teams. And we'll use the Fanspo consensus. Shout out Fanspo. It's a really cool website if you want to check it out. And we're going to go ahead and start the draft. So you know that the San Antonios won the Wemby sweepstakes, so we're not even going to delay. First pick, San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, and we are repeating the Spurs big man, ritual, if you will. David Robinson, then we had Tim Duncan and Jacob Poeltl. I don't know, does he fit in there? But Victor's the next guy. Really cool wrinkles with Tony Parker and the French connection. And I, for one, love the fit with Jeremy Sochan up front. Sochan's just a super versatile defender. As Victor kind of gets more accustomed to the NBA, I just think Sochan being that connective piece and that versatile defenders are really awesome front court mate. And Victor, y'all know Victor is just generational prospect, going to come in right away and be the face of a Spurs franchise that, could be starting to put some things together with Vassell and Keldon Johnson on the wings. I'm a believer in Trey Jones, so I like what they got rolling there. Victor's the number one pick. That takes us to the Hornets at number 2. And I'm going with the second ranked prospect here. It's Scoot Henderson out of G League Ignite. There's a weird kind of LaMelo or, Scoot fit maybe. I don't think it's that weird. I think LaMelo kind of brings you the flash and the pizzazz, and Scoot brings that like power and run it down your throat. So I like these two together. I think that LaMelo and Terry Rozier have been a pretty decent pairing. And I think some of the defense has been the concern. So maybe that's a concern with Scoot, but I think Steve Clifford, being a defensive-minded coach, is going to figure it out. And I think these two could potentially be one of the best backcourts in the NBA moving forward. Some people consider Brandon Miller here, and mad props to Brandon Miller. I'm not trying to throw shade on Brandon Miller, but I think just being accused of the gun thing, or even having that associated with his name, is going to be really hard for the Hornets to take him, especially when you think of some of the backlash from the Miles Bridges stuff. So if things were neck and neck, I have Scoot as the better player, but if things were neck and neck, I think they would then still fall to the side of Scoot at number 2 here for the Hornets. So number 3 is going to be Brandon Miller going to the Blazers. Lots of interesting speculation and talk about Dame, and is this building around Dame? Would Brandon Miller be like an immediate upgrade to make a difference on this team, to make a playoff push? Probably not be a contender. Is this the time to move on from Dame? Any way you look at it, I think Brandon Miller is the best player on the board here, and if the Blazers are picking here, or they shop this pick for a veteran, I still think it's going to be Brandon Miller at 3. So for here, he goes to the Blazers. And we are going through with no surprises yet here in the draft. Next up is Houston Rockets. We've had the Kevin Porter Jr. experiment. And we're talking about needing somebody to really tie this thing together, start giving it a direction. So needing that point guard. And Amen Thompson is sitting here. I'll say I have my concerns about how his game really translates to the NBA. But with his athleticism and a need for this roster and kind of where he's generally thought of, I think he's going to be the selection here at 4. Interesting wrinkle of just being able to really push the pace, I could see Jalen Green and Jabari running. See pick and rolls with Şengün. So a lot of possibilities, a lot of hype coming with the men and going to the Rockets here. So that goes to the fifth, I guess the losers, if you will, of the draft lottery. But I still think they're getting an awesome player here. And it kind of allows them to think more of a contextual fit even. So the Pistons, they got the backcourt set with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. They got some interesting bigs with Jalen Duren maybe being the man of the future, but also James Wiseman. I still think Marvin Bagley shows potential, shows these flashes that are worth keeping him around. I don't know what their plans are with there. Then you got Bogdanović, which is kind of the old man vet of the group. And so really I'm looking on the wings, and Cam Whitmore is going to be that guy. Like, I think the Pistons have like really picked people with like plus athletic traits, big and strong guys like Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Cade, big for his size, Jaden Ivey, maybe not while big, has that elite athleticism. Killian Hayes was thought to be like a bigger stronger point guard. And then, of course, you got Jalen Duren. And so I think Cam Whitmore just fits that mold and is kind of the best player on the board and fits a need that they have on the wing. I think just concerns might be some of the processing of the game. He kind of like gets the ball and holds it at times, or just kind of does these side-by-side dribbles while he surveys the court and kind of figures out what to do. So we'll have to work on that. And then, of course, just work on the shot. But, as a freshman at Villanova, he shot it pretty decently in the low 30s. So we're going to bank on that improving and heading to the Pistons. Detroit basketball. All right, so 6 and the Orlando Magic. Super interesting. All kinds of things the Magic could do here. They have 6 and 11 and 35. They got a ton of young guys on their roster already. They need some vets. They need some shooters. I really don't think they're drafting 3 guys again. So maybe that's packaging 35, or maybe that's packaging 11 and 35 to try to move up a spot or 2, or all 3 of them to move up into like the top 1, 2, maybe 3. Probably not 1. But the Magic, just in terms of not taking any trades here, just too many things to kind of think through. We're going to select Taylor Hendricks for the Magic. And really, I think it comes down to like the backup forward spot in the Magic bench. I don't think Taylor Hendricks is going to start right away or anything like that. You got Franz and Paolo at the 4 and the 3. And I think Hendricks gives you some flexibility across the 4 and the 3 as well, coming off the bench. There's potential of, in the future, maybe playing the 5, or Paolo moving to a 5, small ball 5 in some lineups. So Taylor Hendricks just being a versatile forward coming off the bench. I think his stock and his ultimate upside goes with the way of how he can play the 3. If he can expand and keep up with threes and defend the 3, I think his impact and his value jumps tremendously. But Magic needs shooting, and he shot nearly 40% from 3 on decent volume. They need some backup forward, especially just considering Jonathan Isaac and his ability to really stay healthy. I thought Isaac played pretty well at the time he was on the court. But that just hasn't been something reliable. So Taylor Hendricks is a guy to come in and be that backup forward that you're depending on. Another piece that can do multiple things, shoot, rebound, block shots. And I think that's important too for the Magic, where Wendell Carter's not the most athletic, explosive, jump up and block shots kind of shot blocker. I think he has a decent rim protector. I don't have the numbers on me of what people shoot at the rim on him. But he's more of a positional player versus, getting up and blocking shots. And so I think Taylor Hendricks is also a good complement to that, going 6 to the Magic. That brings us to 7 and the Pacers. And I think when you're looking at the Pacers, you just scroll down here and look at what Fanspo has as a depth chart. Boom. There's a pretty obvious need there. I don't know how they feel about Jalen Smith. I think he's had put together some decent games here and there, but I think they're going to end up going with Jarris Walker here at 7th. Just need another power forward, flexibility to play 4 and 5, possibly 3. Brings a kind of defensive presence and a glue that I think just ultimately leads to winning more games. So I'm going Jarris Walker 7 to the Pacers. That takes us to 8 and the Washington Wizards. We got some free agency happening here with some guys coming up and talking about Kyle Kuzma and some other options here on this team. So I don't really know the direction they're looking to go forward. Is Beal jumping into some more trade rumors? I think somebody told me he had a no trade clause, but maybe it's time. You see here the player options on Kuzma and Porzingis. Kuzma is certainly going to try to get more money. I imagine maybe Porzingis picks up his option. So you got Gafford, Porzingis, maybe Kuzma. Denny really started to put some things together that kind of had the ball in his hand a little more. So this just ends up being like a really interesting team here and kind of what they're fitting and what they're trying to do and really just what's the next step for them. And so when we're looking here at Washington Wizards, I'm going to have them go with a little more upside, and that is going to be my man Keontae George. I think they need some more backcourt help for Beal, or if Beal isn't the man of the future. When you look at Keontae's highlights, when you look at the highs for Keontae, I think they fit up there with anybody else in this class. And I think it's just some of the picks they've had before, like Johnny Davis, even Kispert or Denny or Rui. Like I feel like all those picks had sort of a safety to them or a lack of a real like upside kind of thing. And Keontae's just got that star potential, I think. Again, you look at his highlights, the things he's able to do. He's got NBA skills, moves, packaging, shot making. Some of the defense, decision making, shot selection are really head scratching at times. I really didn't like the way he, just the body language he had in the NCAA tournament when the shot wasn't falling. Heard a lot about him being just overweight in terms of he bulked up too much for the season and having some real bad ankle issues. I think everybody kind of did when you got to March Madness. So nonetheless, I think Keontae George, from a talent perspective and an upside perspective, going to the Washington Wizards. So next up is the Jazz, and I'm going Anthony Black to the Jazz. I just love the idea of his smart passing, finding Lauri Markkanen, finding Oshai on the wings, and pick and rolls with Walker Kessler. He's going to bring it from that defensive standpoint. And so you got an awesome rim protector in Walker Kessler, and then you get a great point of attack defender in Anthony Black, able to switch across a couple positions. The shot is where you start to have some concerns with Anthony Black, but they got other players on the roster that can make up for that. So he, I think, is a great pick and a great fit at 9 going to the Jazz. All right, up 10th, we got the Dallas Mavericks. I have no intel or insight, just a feeling that maybe Kyrie Irving is not going to be there. So that really makes me kind of think about taking a guard. We know that there are some defensive issues, and we know that the ball is going to be in Luka Doncic's hands a lot. So to me, the best fit here at 10 is Cason Wallace. Going to bring that defense. He showed early in the season with Kentucky that he can hit the spot up and play off ball when Xavier Wheeler had the ball. He can also run the point. And the one certainty is that he's going to come in and play defense, one of the best, if not the best defender in the draft, pound for pound. So Casey Wallace just makes a lot of sense here going to the Dallas Mavericks. I think this could be a pick that's on the move for a vet, but again, we're not doing trades today. So Casey Wallace is the pick at 10. Which brings us back to the Orlando Magic. And if there is a mock draft, there is a rule. Grady Dick must go to the Magic. Again, they need shooting. They like positional size and length. Grady Dick has both. Other thing that the Magic like is they like kind of these team player guys that do the intangibles, that do more of the little things. And Grady Dick does all of those. He knows how to use his shooting gravity. He can find cutters, make the right pass, make the right reads. He knows when to keep the ball moving. He knows how to cut and move without the ball. And with what Orlando has going on with Franz and Paolo dominating the ball, it's just a perfect fit here. I think Jordan Hawkins is the other shooter like you're considering here. But I think just the size and the overall just intangibles and game awareness and smartness that Grady Dick brings to the table outweighs Hawkins. And I think just the size, they both have some defensive concerns, and the size plays into Grady Dick's favor. So Grady Dick 11 to the Magic. So then we got the Thunder at 12. And the Thunder are also in a interesting position, being on the upswing. They had all their tons of picks, so it wouldn't be an NBA draft without the Thunder making moves. But in this case, we're going to go something that's not hasn't been out there all that much. I haven't seen this guy mocked here, but I'm going I'm going Gigi Jackson. Again, I just look at the Thunder and like how they like these toolsy guys who can do lots of things. You got rebound, shoot, dribble. Gregory Jackson, Gigi can do all that different stuff on offense. And so I think somehow they're going to get another big to pair with Chet. But here, like, the Thunder haven't been shy to take risks on talent and stuff like that. And in my opinion, the Thunder are not going to be picking in the lottery again for quite a while. So to me, this is their last chance to just get another like upside home run swing pick. And Gigi's that guy, man. And I think if all works out and in time, Chet can play the 5, then you got Chet at the 5, Gigi at the 4, Jalen Williams at the 3, Giddey at the 2, Shea at the 1. And that's just a lineup that can come at you from anywhere. So I'm going Gigi Jackson 12 to the Thunder. They'll probably figure out a way to get back in this draft and get another big somehow later. All right, 13th. 13th, I'm looking at the Toronto Raptors. All kinds of smoke happening with Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet. I don't know what's going to happen with them. It kind of seems like the internet thinks Fred VanVleet is out of there looking for more money and a better winning situation. I've seen some quotes from Gary Trent Jr. that he does not want to leave. Even if both of them stay, I still think there's a need at guard. Malachi Flynn has been able to come in and put some stuff. Jeff Downton's a dude that's been bouncing around the G League. Delano Banton is still more of an in theory kind of player. And then you have Will Barton. And you got some other guys you see listed here, but I don't think any of those are, taking away the need to sort of draft a guard or another player in the front court, or not the front court, the back court. And Ausar here is really intriguing, kind of fits the Raptors mold, but Nick Nurse is out, and I can see them kind of going in a slightly different direction. And if there's one guy that can lead an offense and lead that direction, to me, that's Jalen Hood-Schifino. He's also coming in with that size that the Raptors like, and just really a wizard with the ball in his hands, in my opinion. Pick and roll maestro. Can make any read, any pass. Really has one of the best handles in this class, if you're asking me. I've been really impressed with Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think he came in at right at 6'5" and a quarter maybe, and like a 6'10" wingspan. And so here we go. Jalen Hood-Schifino going to the Raptors at 13. All right, so that takes us to 14th pick, and we are here with the Pelicans. I think a lot of people are throwing shade on C.J. McCollum for the performance in the playoffs there, but I think either way, again, you look at this, you look at their shooting guards. I know Brandon Ingram kind of moves over to shooting guard a lot of times in some different lineups, or Trey Murphy kind of plays that role, but just kind of looking through their lineup, Josh Richardson, C.J. McCollum. Richardson's an unrestricted free agent. Darian Sebron's been in and out of the G League, so I'm looking at the 2-guard, and they've been so successful with guys like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, these tall, sort of lanky guys that have some different things going on. And so I'm going with Jet Howard to the Pelicans, another guy with length, a shooter, and I think he has some playmaking upside. I don't know if the defense is all there that the Pelicans are going to want, but then that's where you got guys like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Dyson Daniels to kind of come in off the bench if that shooting isn't happening, or Howard coming in off the bench. So Jet Howard at 14. Then we got the Hawks, and Hawks, again, another team, John Collins. It's John Collins trade rumor season. With a disappointing playoffs. I don't know what we're thinking with Trae Young and with Deontay, if they think that's going to work out. I loved the addition of Sadiq Bey. I don't know that they had time to adjust to that. So I'm just going BPA here, and that's Asar Thompson. I think just another toolsy wing, plays some defense. Hopefully the shot starts coming around some more, and the Hawks just pick up another asset, another piece that can kind of fit in and figure it out. All right, 16, we had Anthony Black going to the Jazz with the first pick, and the next I'm picking up another guy that I think could come in and really help them out, and that is Jordan Hawkins. Just another shooter. You can't have too much shooting. Again, you start thinking you got O'Shea, you got Jordan Hawkins, you got Lowry, and you got Walker Kessler in the middle, some driving lanes maybe for Anthony Black, kicking out to all these shooters. I just think he's too good of a shooter to pass up here. So Jordan Hawkins is the pick to the Jazz. 17, we have the Lakers. I'm going with Chris Murray. I think Mr. Rui Hachimura is playing himself into another contract, another place that potentially is going to have to pay him, because he's playing pretty well in this playoff series. And so Chris Murray can kind of come in theory, do what Rui Hachimura is doing right now in the playoffs. He can hit some open shots. He can play good defense. I know people are less on Chris than they were with Keegan in terms of potential, or their ranking in the drafts or big boards, but he's shown he can hit the catch and shoot. He's got good size. He's going to play good defense, and if you're on a team with LeBron and Anthony Davis, that's what you need to do. So Chris Murray, 17. 18 is the Miami Heat, and for the Miami Heat, we are going with Leonard Miller. They just need somebody else up there next to Bam to help out with the front court, with getting rebounds, with playing defense. And I think Leonard Miller has that kind of Heat mentality where he busts his butt, gets the rebounds, he plays hard. Kevin Love, I don't know how much longer he's going to be around. I'm pretty sure that I hope Udonis Haslem is not there anymore. So Leonard Miller's a nice package of just size, athleticism, still potential, hard work that fits that Heat culture. So that's where we're going at number 18 to the Heat. Number 19, Golden State Warriors. This has been one of my picks for a while. I'm not going to stray from what I've done. I'm higher on this guy than most anybody else. So you see me scrolling down here, and I am going with Trace Jackson Davis. I think that he can come in and really provide pretty much what Kevon Looney is doing right now. He can play defense. I think he's switchable across a couple positions. No, he's not going to be out there guarding, point guards and twos, but in a pinch or on a late clock switch, he can trail a guy to the hoop and put pressure on him, make it difficult for him. And then I love the idea of Trayce Jackson-Davis at the top of that Warriors offense, run the pick and rolls with the passing chops that he has. Like, he has been an elite playmaker this past season, from averaging nearly 4 assists a game from that power forward center spot. He did come in, I think, at like 6'8.5" or something like that, but he does have that 7-foot wingspan. He is a great shot blocker. He is athletic. So I think just as Kevon Looney and Draymond Green have kind of played the way, I think we're starting to squeak in some Trayce Jackson-Davis into that rotation, and maybe he becomes, a big of the future to keep that Warriors system running. So Trayce Jackson-Davis, 19 to the Warriors. 20 with the Rockets. All right, we got Amen with the first pick, and I am going to now like another shooter. We got Amen run the point, really not having that shot honed in. We got Jalen Green at the 2 guard. We got Jabari at the 4, and I'm going to go for potentially the small forward of the future with Bryce Sensabaugh. We got some defensive concerns here, some kind of things we're worried about a little bit with some of the playmaking, but he has shown some flashes there, and he's just really another one of the best shooters in this class. I think he's just polarizing, maybe because the stockier body type, but here at 20, just getting another guy who can put it in the basket and really give that Rockets team another versatile shot maker to pair with what they already have in Şengün, man in the middle, and possibly Amen, being a potential non-shooter on the court. So Bryce Sensabaugh, 20. 21, I'm going with Nick Smith Jr. I think just the talent here, and they need help in the backcourt. Got a lot of unrestricted free agents like Seth Curry. I think Dinwiddie's got 1 year left. And so I think Nick Smith gives you some upside. I think he's just really unique and slithery and smooth with how he can get his floater off and create space. Was somewhat of a disappointing season, but this is a guy that was like top 5 unanimous, and I think could return that value at 21. That's worth it and fits a position of need. So 21, there we go, Nick Smith. And the next pick for our Brooklyn Nets here, I am going to go with, this one is tough. I'm going to go with another. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Man, Brooklyn, 2 back-to-back. I'm going to go with Dariq Whitehead. I don't know what's up with the foot. I think one thing that was evident at Duke is that he can shoot. The rest of his game, to me, just looked like half a step slow, which I'm giving him credit for the injury. Like, he got involved in a few pick and rolls, and like he would see the roller. He'd see the pass, but just be a half step slow. I think his defense picked up throughout the season where he was better able to stay with guys. There was some scary sort of plays in transition where he was just not able to explode, and that's a concern. But, without knowing all the health and the medicals, again, like Nick Smith in terms of just potential value and fitting some needs, I think if Dariq Whitehead can maintain being a 40% three-point shooter like he was at Duke, then you got to grab him here. That brings us to the Blazers at 23, and we are going with Derek Lively. Again, this team could go in a lot of different directions. They don't really have a real shot-blocking rim protection. They got Nurkic down there, who's a big dude, but not really that athletic shot blocker. They've really tended to draft like athletic kind of guys lately. So Derek Lively fits a need. He's the best shot blocker in this class, and he makes a ton of sense here to the Blazers. 24 is the Kings. And for the Kings, I'm going with Maxwell Lewis. Thought just during the playoffs, again, they needed just another athlete. They needed another guy on the wing that could make buckets. Maxwell Lewis, or Max Lewis, for most of this season was up near the 40% mark in terms of the three-point ball. It dipped a little bit at the end, but I think just with what he put on in flashes, with the size, the athleticism, I think he's a good bet to be one of those wing players here, maybe take over some of that Harrison Barnes role in time, or just be another option for this high-powered offense. So Max Lewis, 24. That brings us to the Memphis Grizzlies. And Memphis Grizzlies, I got them going with Kobe Buffkin. I think he can fit right in with what they got happening in terms of just possibly replacing Dillon Brooks. I know Dillon Brooks is a bigger player, but I think Dillon Brooks is best. He was able to make threes. He was scrappy defender, and he was able to bring some different things on offense in terms of handling as a secondary playmaker, a tertiary kind of guy on the wing to get things moving. And just again, in terms of value, Kobe Buffkin still here at 25. They got Ja and they got Tyus. I see Kobe as more of that combo guard. So playing with Bane, I think maybe you flirt around with like a 3-guard lineup, could get to where you got Ja, Bane, and Kobe Buffkin. That could be interesting. Ja may miss a bunch of games. Who knows? And I think Tyus has 1 year left. So I think just there's a need here for another guard. Kobe Buffkin is ripe for the picking here at 25. 26, back to the Pacers, who had Jarris Walker. For their next pick, I'm thinking they need another wing guy. I don't really know. I think Duarte just was battling some injuries. I'm not positive. I didn't watch a ton of Pacers basketball, admittedly. I did watch some games. I know he was hot, coming out his rookie year and was making a bunch of threes early on. And I think there's just been some nagging injuries that have, kind of kept him off. I think Aaron Nesmith has been on and off. O'Shea has shown some flashes, but I don't know that's who they're looking at moving forward. So we're going with Julian Strawther here. Julian Strawther has been a consistent three-point shooter for a very good college team for several years. He's got an NBA body. I think some of the lateral quickness is what has him falling, and some lack of explosion and creation. But I think fitting right into the Pacers offense here, another guy to kind of have Halliburton dish to and hit open shots. I think he can switch between the 2 and the 3 in some lineups. So Julian Strawther is a good fit here for the Pacers. All right, so now we're back to the Hornets. And I have the Hornets had Scoot Henderson. And so we're kind of looking at the next kind of piece here. And I'm giving them some size, some defensive chops, some slashing, another target for LaMelo, and Scoot to kind of play with, get some familiarity even from the G League Ignite, and that's City Sissoko. I'm a believer that the three-point ball will come around. I think just the flashes that he's shown both defensively and as a cutter, transition player, slasher, and even some of the passing, coming off of those cuts and things. I think he's just a steal here for the Hornets and helps them now start to build their defensive identity. And we are back with the Jazz on the clock. We got Anthony Black, Jordan Hawkins. So we got kind of some backcourt guys. And now we are going to the wing here for the Jazz. And I'm going to give them a versatile piece in Jalen Wilson. I think they're dipping back into the Kansas upperclassmen. People have all kinds of things to say about Jalen Wilson and the efficiency and what he can't do, but he's a smart player. He knows how to get shots. He knows where to be on the floor. He moves. He does different things. I was really impressed with when he had a big that he can't muscle. He'd take it outside. He'd shoot the three. He'd drive on him. And when he had a guard on him, he would punish him, bring him in the post, drive on him. And I think in time, some of those efficiency numbers can come up. I think he'll just be a pro. He's gotten better every year at Kansas. I think he's going to continue to do that. And so he just kind of gives you this versatile 6'7", 6'8" piece that can kind of switch between the forward spots. I think just being his time at Kansas, he knows how to fit into an offense without being the primary option that he was this year. So I'm higher on Jalen Wilson than most people. I got him going to the Jazz here. All right, we got the Pacers back up, and I got them taking Ryan Rupert. I'm not as high on Rupert, but the way I look at it is you got two guys already that you're picking up. Rupert looks like he could be another guy that can defend, possibly shoot the three. That's where I have my concerns. But just like another interesting piece, I'm pretty sure he was set to come over to the States and play, but had some injuries. So maybe that's a guy that you G League for a while, or maybe he doesn't come over. Pacers have tons of picks, so that might even end up being packaged. But it's just another real interesting piece for the Pacers. And then we got 30th here with the Clippers on the clock. To me, they just need another guy that's going to kind of fit in and do what Paul George and Kawhi need him to do. I think there's a potential need sort of at the front court spot, and that's where I'm going. I'm going Adem Bona. I just think that you got Zubats. Covington, it has not given them what I think they were hoping. Plumlee's the unrestricted free agent. I think Bona gives them a different kind of big than Zubats that can move, that can be high energy, that can block shots. And so I just think he's going to end up being a guy that many people passed on. That's a steal coming in there at 30 to the Clippers. That's it, y'all. Let me know what you think. This was first mock draft since the lottery order was established. Give us one quick look again at the mock draft here. Let me know your thoughts. Hit me up. Where am I crazy? I know people are going to think I'm crazy with my TJD and my JHS, my Hoosiers here, but come at me. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being a part of Draft Fanatics. Until next time.